Its Busby babes have been remembered 53 years on from that fateful night in Munich. Duncan Edwards and Tommy Taylor have been honoured with memorial plaques which have been unveiled at their former homes in Stretford. Mark Tattersall reports.
They were Busby's babes, a group of talented youngsters with the world at their feet. But in 1958, the Munich air disaster claimed the lives of 8 Manchester United footballers. Among them was Duncan Edwards.
He loved playing football, Duncan Edwards. He's my favourite footballer of all time, without any question. He could do everything better than anybody else. He was just a sensational footballer.
Today at the home where Duncan Edwards lived as a player, a lasting tribute was unveiled in his memory.
It's a great decision, I think. You know, it's here forever for Duncan Edwards for people to come along and to have a little chat about him.
Just around the corner is the house Tommy Taylor once called home. Cricket legend Dickie Bird grew up with Tommy in Barnsley and used to call each other teammates.
All he used to say to me, we were only kids, I want it in the air, and he used to rise as a schoolboy and hang there, boom, head the ball, great player.
Credit for discovering these two homes goes to Stretford High pupils who researched the Munich air disaster for a school project. For them and the current homeowners, it's a moment of pride.
It's not every day that you get Sir Bobby Charlton in your school, mate, you know what I mean?
It's in a Munich book with the actual telegram of Duncan Edwards with our address on it, and we do have people like knocking on the door, but no, we think it's great.
It brings back memories and looking at those people's faces who were from that generation.
I wouldn't mind knowing which bedroom he slept in.
I've not been affected by it, but it's close to home.
The plaques might have taken 53 years to arrive, but now they stand as a permanent reminder of the men who lived here, victims of one of the worst ever football tragedies. Mark Tattersall, Granada Reports, Stretford.
And one other piece of news from United today.
They were among Manchester's greatest footballing legends, Duncan Edwards and Tommy Taylor, 2 of the 8 Busby babes who died following the 1958 Munich air disaster.
Heroes of yesteryear, no doubt, but still remembered by the children of today. 2 blue plaques were erected this lunchtime on their former homes in Stretford. And it's all down to a campaign by children from a nearby high school. And they managed to get 1 or 2 famous faces involved too.
Taylor moves in, but goalie Nigel Sims dives at his feet.
Wonderful, wonderful happy memories, especially at school, our school days together. He was a wonderful footballer, great header of the ball, 2-footed, and he had pace. He was so quick.
Duncan Edwards takes it.
Without question, the best player I ever saw or I ever played against was Duncan Edwards. He was just such a sensational player and a great leader, and he was a talisman. You couldn't help but do the best you possibly could. He used to frighten you to death otherwise.
Me and my husband have been actually reading up on Duncan Edwards and how massive he actually was. So to have this on is an honour, it really is.
He centres, it bounces off Taylor, and Whelan makes sure of it.
Most of the whole school, and Year 7 mainly, have actually worked really hard to get this achievement. So everybody could actually remember these great players.
They'd be really proud, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I saw those players playing. They were terrific. Duncan Edwards was just out of this world.
Lovely. Should we take a look at the weather? You may want to take note.
Now, so Bobby Charlton insists Manchester United would never consider changing the name of Old Trafford. Manchester City have just announced their ground will be called the Etihad Stadium from next season.
3, 2, 1. So Bobby Charlton turned the clock back more than 50 years as he unveiled a plaque to mark the house near Old Trafford where Duncan Edwards once lived. The tribute to the 21-year-old, one of the victims of the 1958 Munich air disaster, followed a local school campaign.
He was the best player I ever played with, the best player I ever saw, and he could play in any position with his left foot, with his right foot, short passing, long 50, 60-yard, 70-yard passes. He had a drive.
But so much has changed in Manchester in half a century. Neighbours City are even renaming their stadium, but not United.
Whether the big clubs, you know, that can generate a lot of money, you know, have to think about that. Well, good luck to them. I can only say that it's not our policy to actually change the name. It's too important.
After the disappointment of Champions League final defeat by Barcelona, Charlton now has no doubt Sir Alex Ferguson is reshaping yet another squad to challenge for honours.
I don't see any reason why it should be any different this year.
You still see the hunger there in the manager?
Well, he's always hungry. He never wants to talk about anything else but football. He's magic. He's got the work ethic. He knows how to work with people, you know. There's nothing I can find to say that's wrong about Alex Ferguson as a football manager.
Dickie Bird performed another unveiling in honour of the late Tommy Taylor. A moment to reflect for Charlton as the challenge of another new season approaches. Peter Stevenson, Sky Sports.
So Sir Bobby ruling out any chance of United renaming or indeed leaving Old Trafford, but Liverpool are...
The decision was made because of complaints from customers. Blue plaques have gone up for two of the Busby babes. One plaque to Tommy Taylor was unveiled at his former home in Stretford by his friend and cricket umpire Dickie Bird. Then Sir Bobby Charlton performed the honours at the former home of Duncan Edwards nearby. Both players died following the Munich air disaster in 1958. This week marks 30 years since the mosque